Alrighty then, you've been invited to play in a game of D&D, and you have to come with a character and sheets already made. Let's get on with it. So all of this can be kind of intimidating at first. These sheets tend to inspire fear in the hearts of young players, but fear not, because it's actually really easy to get. First, you've got to start with discovering who your character is, what their backstory, motivations, and goals are. I have a series of questions that I like to ask myself and my players, ways to make sure that every box is checked so that you can truly get in their headspace. This is a creative writing exercise. Nothing weird or numbers based here, just make a character. Consider what kind of home they came from, what their family was like, why they left, and how they learned their skills that they now use, who inspired them to be an adventurer, or a healer, or even a teacher themselves. After the backstory, you should now know roundabout what they act like, the kinds of abilities that you want them to have, and what they look like. If you don't, try brainstorming that now, because it's vital to the creation process. You should be able to imagine a scenario and see what your character would do in response to it. Like, they are left alone in a town for a day whilst their friends go and scope out a job. What are they doing? Or they're asked to sneak into a place. What's their plan? You should also see them. Are they a lizard man, a bird person, or just a dude named Rick? You know the one. Now, ignore the sheet and look down at your dice. Grab 4d6, or as many as you can, up to 4. Having more will speed up the process, and it's time to roll stats. There are 3 schools behind choosing stats. This is the rolling method. Take 4d6 and toss them in your tray, then drop the lowest one and add up the remaining 3. That's 1 stat. Do this 6 times, and that gives you a potential minimum of 3 and a maximum of 18. When I have players roll for stats, I give them a 7th and we drop the lowest of those. This raises the average stats of the characters, but not by an amount that drastically changes the game. It just weeds out that one bad roll that statistics say you should get. The other 2 methods of stat selection are point buy and standard array. The standard array is a set of 6 that's been predetermined to be average. It goes 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. I usually modify my standard array to have that 15 instead be a 16. Point buy functions like this. Every stat is an 8. You then get 27 points to fill them up with. It costs 1 point to raise a stat by 1 until you get to 14. When raising a stat from 13 to 14, it costs 2, and it's the same from 14 to 15. With point buy, a stat cannot be raised above 15. I usually recommend rolling because this is a game about rolling dice after all. You should roll some dice when you make your character. Once you have your 6 numbers, it's time to start looking at your sheets again. We're going to go to Character Race right here, and you can find the available races in the Player's Handbook, Volo's Guide, Mordenkainen's, and a bunch more. Races give your character their look, their physical attributes, but also some ability score bonuses, their sight ranges, movement speeds, and some special features like spells, resistances, and their most common positions, whether that be with high elves as spellcasters, dwarves as fighters, or tieflings as specifically warlocks because they're devils and they have to be for no reason at all. Once you choose your race, write the name of them here. I'm going to go with Ganassi and Fire for my subrace. Some races do that, they have subraces, but they're very self-explanatory. They break down the benefits into groups and basically form genetic offshoots from one common ancestor, in this case, elementals. So we have our Ganassi, and here's where we need to look at those numbers from before. In the distant past of like 2 years ago, there was a sentence that mattered. It no longer does. You see right here where it says they get a +2 to Constitution, and over here a +1 to Intelligence? Yeah, it also says right here that that doesn't matter. So take your numbers from before and work them in with these. Still not cementing them anywhere yet, just looking at these numbers and boosting this one by 2 and this one by 1. That way I have the best, more balanced, and powerful set for my character. I say that because stats have these little bubbles under them on our sheets. These are for their associated modifiers. These go up when you reach an even number and down when they reach an odd number. So an 11 is a +0, but when it goes up to a +12, it's a +2. And likewise, a 10 is a +0, but when it goes down to a 9, it's a -1. So when we do eventually place these down, we want them to be as good as possible for what they are. After that, write in your features and traits that you get from your race. Dark Vision 60, but Fire Genasi are special in that they get red scale vision instead of just gray. Then Fire Resistance and Reach to the Blaze, which is the Genasi spellcasting ability. I'm going to say this now, only write down what you need to get the gist of your ability. If you can make do with less, then write less. If you're going to look at something confused later and not be able to answer something that your DM asks you, write more. It's okay. There's space. And if you run out, make more. Write on the back, write on a scrap piece of paper. Just be able to manage and understand it. Also, write down your speed here, your languages here, and over here, we can knock out this entire sheet right now. If you know the general scheme of your character, i.e. the race you want to play, and a general background for your guy, this one will take less than 5 minutes. So on the characteristics sheet, or the character details sheet, whatever you want to call it, from top left to bottom right, you have character name, which is exactly what it sounds like. You then have your character's physical attributes, the guidelines for which come from your race's description. First is their age, then it goes height, then weight, eye color, skin color, and then hair color. And then you're done. Here is a box where you can put a piece of art for your character, or you can leave it blank. This is a section where you can detail their faction or any groups they're associated with. This one is almost always left blank. This is a section where you can write down a brief backstory. I know that mine never fit here, so I usually just leave this blank and have separate sheets attached that detail their history. Over here is where you can write any features and traits that spill over from your main sheet. It's just extra space, along with this below it, which is also just extra space for any gear you've got. And then you're done with this sheet. Honestly, all you're writing on here is probably localized within the top inch, which is why I said this one will be fast. Now we move back on to the main sheet. After race comes background. Backgrounds are meant to represent what your character did for a significant portion of their past. Were you a wanderer, an urchin, a soldier, or a gladiator? These give little in terms of mechanical benefits. A few proficiencies here, a language and a small feature there, but they also give you some starting gear and some ideas for personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws, which we'll cover next. For our character today, let's give our Genasi the soldier background. She's spent some time in the military, I guess. So she gets land vehicle and 1 gaming set proficiency of your choice, some real skill proficiencies, and some gear. Here's where we can also talk about coin. Electrum sucks. Everything is 10 scale, but Electrum is half of a gold. And so it's stupid, and I don't use it. So cross that out and fill in your coin that you get from your background here. Now, those personality traits, bonds, ideals, and flaws will go in this section. You don't really need to use these if you already have a good backstory for your character. These are meant to get new players accustomed to characters easier by giving them cookie cutter personality traits. It's literally right in the name. Now comes time for the class. My favorite class by far is Wizard, and so we're going to make a Wizard today. Knowing that, look at Wizard in the book. They tell you which stats are important, and you can infer which ones aren't. 2 simple rules I live by are this. Have your main class stat be at least your second highest, and don't dump con. It never goes lower than 10, 12 if you can help it. So for a Wizard, we need to place our stats focused around intelligence. I'm going to make that my highest, and then con because I want her to be tough, then dex, wisdom, charisma, and last is going to be strength because it's a wizard after all. You don't need to prioritize that one. After stat selection comes time for hit points. At level 1, you start with the max roll for your class. Hit dice plus your con mod. So for a wizard, that's 6 plus our con mod of 3. And then you can here you can fill in 1d6 or 1d whatever your hit dice is, and you get that from your class's description. After that comes class proficiencies. You put those down here with the rest. So for wizard, we get no armor, no tools, and a small assortment of weapons. Up here, you get intelligence and wisdom saving throws, and then 2 skills. Again, Tasha's, pick whatever you want. Once you're done with that, gear. You get this stuff. If it says A or B, you get one or the other. So we're gonna choose a dagger, we're gonna pick an arcane focus, the staff, why not? An explorer's pack, and we get a spell book. Finishing that out, if your DM is nice, you can buy and sell up and down using the values from the PHB. So with your money from your background and the stuff that you don't want from your class, you can get more stuff. And then, features and traits. Spellcasting can be ignored until the end, so the only thing we have to worry about is arcane recovery. Just fill that in like this. And now, we need to go top to bottom and make sure that everything is filled in. Character name, if you have no clue, the race selections have examples to either take or inspire you to make one. Player name, self-explanatory. Alignment, it's that grid your friends who are into astrology always try to fit their favorite fictional characters into, and it never quite works right. This is rarely used, very rarely. It's also fluid. You can set your alignment and have it change entirely by your opinion. If you're not acting in accordance with your alignment, your DM can ask you to change it, or make you. Experience points, if you're using XP and making a level 1 character, you start with 0. This is the table that we use to check what level different XP amounts equate to. Personally, I don't have experience, I don't use it. I just level my players up when they finish something big. But if you want to, there you go. Inspiration, it's a free reroll that your DM will never give out. It's entirely up to them, and they will always forget. I know that I do. Maybe making this video will help me remember more. Proficiency bonus, this is given by your total character level. So if you're a level 1 wizard and a level 4 fighter, you have a +3. But at level 1, it's just a +2. So look at the chart and just follow along, it's pretty easy. AC, armor class, is calculated as 10 plus your dex mod if you're naked or just unarmored, or it's this if you're wearing this. Wizards don't use armor, so Westra's AC is going to be 13. Now it's time for the big, long, thick strip of numbers. Fill them in like so. Take the modifier from your stats that we did earlier and fill it in into the associated space, adding your proficiency bonus if you have it bubbled in. Rogues have something called expertise where they add it twice, and bards have jack of all trades where they add half of it to everything they're not proficient with. Saving throws, skills, all done the same. And then, down here, passive perception is calculated as 10 plus your perception bonus from up there. And now, it's spellcasting time. Starting here, write your class name, the one that gives you the spellcasting. You will have separate sheets for each spellcasting class you take. If you multiclass, they all share the same slots, so always be aware when you cast on one, you cast on all. Barring warlocks, but they're weird and you could read more about them yourselves. Fun though, too. Here is where you write your ability and its associated modifier, so intelligence and 5. Here is where your save DC goes. This is calculated as 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your spellcasting modifier, so 15. And here is where your attack bonus goes. This is just proficiency bonus plus your modifier, so 7. And then, choosing spells, for each class, this works differently. Artificers, clerics, druids, and paladins can choose new spells every day from their entire list. The number they can choose is either their class level plus their spellcasting modifier, or half of their level plus their modifier. Bards, rangers, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards all choose their spells at level up, and that's it. That's all they get. However, wizards are unique in that they cannot cast every spell they know. They also have to prepare spells from their list, but like the other preppers. The amount is, again, equal to their intelligence mod plus their level. So let's pick our spells here. you can see that we get 3 cantrips, and here you can see that we learn 6 spells, and purely because of how awesome Westra is, she can prepare them all every day. I'm going to go with, since we already get Produce Flame from our race, Firebolt, Prestidigitation, and Minor Illusion. Then, for our spells, we get 6 level 1s, and since we also get Burning Hands, not now at level 3 I know, but still don't pick it, Tasha's will not save you there. I'm going to go with Witch Bolt, Shield, Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Detect Magic, and Identify. And then, slots. You get 2 first level spell slots at Wizard level 1, and then more as you level up. In the likely case you're not playing a Wizard, each class should have the number of slots you get when you reach every level. Just follow the table to see what you should have. Whenever you cast a spell, you can cast it at its base level or higher. If you have slots to expend when casting a spell, you burn a slot. Slots get back completely when you long rest, unless you have something that means you get them back sooner, like Wizards do, because they're gray. You do not get to cast each spell twice per day. You get 2 first level castings total for the day. Artificers, bards, clerics, druids, sorcerers, and wizards can also all ritual cast, which means they can add 10 minutes onto the casting time of a spell with the ritual tag in order to cast it without burning a slot. Wizards are also special in that they don't need to prepare their ritual spells. All the others do, which means that over here, Identify and Detect Magic, if you did not have a high enough intelligence to prep them all, don't prepare those, just ritual cast them. And then our spellcasting sheet is done. And with that, we have our character sheets finished. You should now have a fully filled out character sheet and a finished character backstory. The only thing now is to start playing the game. Thank you all for joining me for this tutorial video, everyone. I hope it helped you guys understand and enjoy this game more and have a better experience getting into the hobby. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified as we upload more videos, and be sure to also like and comment down below the characters that you made today along with me. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.